welcome to Murder and Everything Else. My name is Joy.
And my name is Cheryl. Joy and I are two very old friends who love to talk about murder and everything else.
For those of you who do not live in North Carolina, it's spring, and that means we are in pollen season, which means everything outside is covered in a thick layer of yellow dust. And I'm not an allergy sufferer, but for people who suffer from seasonal allergies, it is brutal. We ran into a friend who sounded hoarse and also sounded like they were recovering from like a horrible respiratory thing. And she said, I'm not sick. It's just the pollen. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
you can't get away from it. And you have to wash it off your cars. You have to power wash your homes because it's pollen, so it sticks and then it becomes sticky and like gooey. And so it will probably last another, well, it's rained a lot today, so it'll probably last another week or so. So we've done our first car wash to get rid of like the really bad stuff. And then next weekend we'll do another car wash and hopefully that'll be it for the pollen. But the best part about pollen season is the leaves are coming in. And this is the time of year that I never thought I would hear myself say this, that I absolutely love because the leaves come together and block out the sounds of the neighbors and the sights of the neighbors. You literally can't see or hear anything because it creates this very cool privacy screen.
Wow.
It's
So you have to
so cool.
power wash your
Our house.
wow.
Every spring, we try to do it every spring to power wash it to take off any debris or trash and all the pollen. And then the last thing I do is Maria comes and helps me with my windows and we clean all the window wells because it gets trapped down in the window wells along with spiders and bugs and stink bugs. So I have to do that.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's like a twice yearly event, the window wells. But the
Mm.
power washing's just once a year. So anyway, here's how I can tell I'm old AF, and that is I just spent the last 5 minutes talking about the weather. So let's talk about some updates, Cheryl. Okay, last week we welcomed Germany to our list of countries, and this week we're adding Austria. So remember, I started something new, which is I'm going to be greeting our listeners in the language that is spoken in their country. And German is the official language of Austria. It's an important prerequisite for participating in the social life, the economic and working life of the country. However, there are other autonomous population groups that speak other languages like Croatian, Slovenian, and Hungarian. So, Willkommen österreichische Zuhörer, which means welcome Austrian listeners.
Wow.
Pretty
That's
good, huh?
impressive. That
And
sounded great. I hope it was right.
and a couple weeks ago we welcomed Swedish listeners, and that is Välkomna svenska lyssnare, which I think Swedish is easier. I have to say that to me, German is one of the most difficult languages to pronounce. And that's because your average word has like 65 letters in it.
Right. Well, it sounds like you do a great job. I
Oh,
wouldn't
thanks.
know, but
I mean, if we got any German or Swedish listeners out there, hey, let us know how the pronunciation is. And you're welcome to say it sounds like shit. Cheryl, got any updates?
well, along with P. Diddy being accused, having all these accusers come out, so Russell Brand believes he could face criminal charges in the U.S. after being charged with rape and sexual assault in the U.K., according to his lawyer. So on Friday, April 4th, Russell Brand had been charged with one count of rape, one count of indecent assault, one count of oral rape, and two counts of sexual assault following an investigation by detectives that began in 2023. The charges relate to four women. And he's also facing a separate civil sexual assault case in the U.S. after a woman named only as Jane Doe filed a lawsuit against him in 2023 in the state of New York. And the case accuses him of sexually assaulting her in a bathroom and exposing his you-know-what to her on the set of the 2011 movie Arthur. So you and I had a talk about this. We don't have time to get into it too much, but I'm all for the Me Too movement and believing women. But having said that, I believe that there are going to be cases where men are duped, and where it's going to be difficult. So what my shout out, I'm going to just do my shout out all rolled into one, is to Jeff Probst, because I said in a couple of episodes ago, I have refound, that's not a word. I have a renewed interest in Survivor, and I have been binge watching it on Paramount Plus. And Jeff Probst is, I don't know, do you watch Amazing Race and Naked and Afraid and all of those?
I used to.
So I don't know, I don't watch those, so I have nothing to compare it to. So I'm just shouting him out because I think he is a fabulous, excellent host, because it's not just about going, okay, guys, this is our next challenge. There's so much more involved to him being the host of it that I can't see them ever replacing him. It would be so hard because he almost plays psychologist in the tribal councils, and well, he's been doing it for so long, but I think he was fantastic from the beginning.
Yeah.
That he almost has to play psychologist, because there's so much involved in the human aspect of it, the social game and all of that. He's just so good. He can be really harsh sometimes, though. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, when he calls people out on stuff, but it actually makes him, to me, it makes him even more legit as a host, because he's not all fluff. Like, he knows that game. He knows that show so well. He's so good. The reason I'm talking about it, so that's my shout out. So I already did my shout out. But on one of the seasons, there was a girl that when she was voted out, she hugged him. They don't do that. He just goes, the tribe has spoken, it's time for you to go. Well, she couldn't help herself. Like, through the whole season, it was up until she was voted out, it was known that she had a crush on him. So she went in for a kiss, but of course he turned his head, so she just kind of brushed the side of his face with her mouth, with her lips, but she grabbed onto him and hugged him. And so when they had the reunion show, if you don't watch this, you guys won't know what I'm talking about, but they bring all the contestants back that at the end to announce the winner. And this girl, so he turns to her and he's about to say, okay, for the whole season, you tried to, and he couldn't even get the words out. And she jumped out of her chair. She ran over to him. This is live taping, and he's sitting in his seat. She grabs his face and she plants one on his lips. And everybody's laughing and cheering and all of this. And he kind of moves her away and he goes, well, and he was very diplomatic about it. And he's like, well, luckily you don't kiss as good as my wife. I love my wife. But I was like, if that had been reversed and it was a female host and a man ran up to her like that, it would have been a different story. And I thought, of course, this was probably 15 or 20, no, maybe 15 years ago that particular season was on. But nevertheless, it's like, I just want to call out that we have to be fair to men as well. You know what I mean? We want to believe women, but the men there's a little bit of a double standard sometimes. Because when I watched it, I was like, if that had been a female host, a male contestant would never have been able to do that.
Well, I just want to say, with regards to Russell Brand, this weekend on Weekend Update on SNL, it's Colin Jost and Michael Che. They cracked a joke about the episode of SNL that was hosted by Russell Brand, and the music performance was by Chris Rock. And they
Oh,
actually said, like, good job, SNL. What a lineup. It's like, let's get a sexual assaulter.
Chris
And
Rock?
I'm no, sorry, Chris Brown.
Oh,
And
I'm like, Chris
let's
Rock, the
get
singer?
yeah, and let's get someone who's like beat up a bunch of chicks. It's like, are you kidding me? But I will say this, Russell Brand within the last probably 3 to 4 years has literally gone in this whole like, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, down this rabbit hole. And all he does is talk about how he's a converted Christian and how Jesus has saved his life. And it's such a departure from what first he was a comedian, then he was a funny actor. And, he already had a pretty like robust career in the UK. But I remember him first popping onto like everyone's radar with Forgetting Sarah Marshall with Kristen Bell. And he was hilarious and really, really good in the role that he played. But he also, kind of then he went into yoga, and then he went into like wellness guru. And now he's like very, very like very much a Bible thumper. And I can't help but wonder when you started talking about this, because I didn't know about a sexual assault, etc. I wonder if he isn't doing this because when he realized that he was going to get in trouble for this, that he probably needed to change his brand. Get it? Russell Brand. And
Ba-dum-bum.
go down the religious route. Now, I'm not saying that he wasn't born again and he didn't have a conversion story and all that, but I'm just saying it kind of feels almost too convenient.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
that's
who
all I'm
knows?
gonna say. Like maybe instead, like use your energy for good and stop preaching so much, because it sounds like he's got some cleaning out of his own closets to do.
Yeah. Do you think it was like a preemptive strike to all
Oh,
of this shit
I
coming forward?
personally I do. But, I mean, hey, reach out and let us know if you think I'm being too harsh or something.
No,
Um,
I don't think you're being too harsh, but you do agree with me that for male celebrities, they have a little bit of a tricky thing because women are throwing themselves at them, you know?
oh yeah, I mean,
Um,
I will tell you that um I don't know, did you ever see that story where the girl was suing Drake because he put um hot sauce in the so at concerts, obviously there are chicks who get, they're good looking girls and they want to hook up with the performer or someone who is in the band or whatever. And it's nothing new. It also happens to sports stars. Hello, Wilt Chamberlain, Magic Johnson, are two names that really stick out as far as like some dudes that really tap some ass on those sports and sports tours. Anyway,
Tiger
um,
Woods.
yeah, Tiger Woods. So, he would take the girls back to his place and he would sleep with them and he would use a condom. But one girl woke up in the night and she took the condoms out of the trash and then she used them because she wanted to get pregnant. Because,
Oh
but
my
I don't
God.
know if she used a turkey baster or how she got that stuff in her, but she got an infection because he had poured hot sauce in each of the condoms that were used so that the sperm was not good.
Oh,
Yeah,
snap.
snap. And then when she woke up and
Wow.
snuck out of the hotel room with the dirty condoms, she got an infection. And I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you feel like, I don't know why those two old Asian ladies are talking about hot sauce in the condoms, but if you haven't heard this story before, you heard it first here. So
Wow.
that's one way to keep the ladies from turkey basting your semen up inside them.
Well, you got to do what you got to do. And
I know.
obviously he had experience with that. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah,
fact that he
he
protected
has
himself that.
to people everywhere. Make sure that if there's a condom that you want to leave a hotel room with, you keep it close to yourself and on your body, or I mean, I guess you could say on or in your body. I don't know. Maybe like put it in a little baggie or something and like tuck it into your, pocket.
Uh,
Anyway, rolling on to shout outs. Um, this weekend, I took my husband to a book signing. Cheryl, I know this is going to sound crazy. I mean, I don't know if you've ever done this, but this is the first time I've ever been to a book signing. Full
yeah,
disclosure.
I don't think I've ever been to one,
Yeah. So
honestly.
it was really, really cool. I mean, there was not a red carpet and there were no cheese trays or glasses of champagne being handed out at the door. But that's okay because maybe every book signing goes a little differently. But this was at McIntyre's, which is an indie bookstore in Barrington Village, and it was great. And the shout out goes to Homegrown Hand Gathered. It's Sylvan Godden and Jordan Toney. They are a couple, and they wrote a book. And they have an online community showcasing low cost methods for gardening, foraging, and cooking in all environments. And they have recently bought a farm that they have gone into with um, some other couples, and they're going to build homes. And I mean, it was so cool. They had a little speech where they talked about their lives and this book and everything that went into it. Um, uh, Sylvan manages an urban farm, and then Tony teaches regenerative agriculture and foraging. So now they have a farm and hopefully they'll come out with even more books. And I was pleased to see the turnout. I was so excited. I got a chance to meet them and talk to them just a little bit. And Cheryl, I just have to tell you and tell our listeners, it was so exciting. So these guys to me are like Instagram, YouTube famous. They have a channel, they have lots of followers, they have, they're the kind of people. Like one time I made a comment on one of their Instagram posts, and in like a few minutes I got like over 250 likes, which, for me that's almost crazy viral, right? Because like,
Right.
250, I realize you need like 2,050,000. But to me, 250 was like, damn, like
Mm-hmm.
they got some serious followers. So it was really cool. And then for our listeners out there, I just said, you guys, it's so exciting to like finally get a chance to meet you. I introduced myself, I introduced my husband, and they had done their little talk in the room that has all the murder mysteries, etc. And um and Jordan said, "Oh, you must have really enjoyed sitting in that room with all those murder things." So he made a reference to our podcast, Cheryl. So I felt about as close to having made it as I possibly could.
You felt
I just wish,
validated.
yeah, I just wish you had been there, that these Instagram, YouTube famous people knew about our little tiny podcast. So
Oh,
that was
that's
kind of
awesome.
exciting.
That's very
Anyway,
exciting.
I also want to shout out my fellow Americans who came out on Saturday for the hands off um, peaceful protests. Over 5 million Americans congregated at over 1,400 locations nationwide in what is the largest one-day nationwide display of public resistance against the second administration of our current president and Elon Musk. So, great job. I have not seen, I did see a video that some guy in Iowa showed up with a swastika flag and
Oh
was
God.
later, I think, escorted away because he also, I think, brought some firearms. But it was a
Oh man.
peaceful protest. And I'm so pleased to see that families turned out, that people of all ages, all ethnic backgrounds, all walks of life came out, for something they believe in. So there's nothing more American than that and apple pie. So that was kind of cool. So Cheryl, you got any shout outs?
I already said my shout out to Jeff Probst.
Oh, Jeff, you tied your shout out and your update into
I
one. You got
did.
me.
Look at how I did that.
I
Look
know
at
you got
that.
me all like discombobulated how you're changing it up. And I'm here to tell you, Elena, that we are hitting that 20-minute mark and we haven't even started talking about what our episode is about today. Anyway, way back in season 1, you guys, episode 33. That feels like 1,000 years ago. We did an episode called Good News, and it dropped on August 27th, 2023. So go back and listen to it. But it's time for some more good news in light of what's going on with your 401ks, the stock market, the price of eggs, gas, and more. I feel like we need all the good news we can get. Can I get an amen?
Amen. Amen.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, just so you guys know, these stories come from today.com, CBS.com, and the BBC. All right. So,
All right.
story number 1. And I told Cheryl that 3 of these stories I put in. I mean, I must have read 100 news stories, but 3 of these news stories I put in specifically for Cheryl. And it's because they are about animals. For those of you that don't know, Cheryl is a great animal lover.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay.
Lay it on me.
Story number 1. The Philadelphia Zoo is overjoyed to announce the hatching of 4 critically endangered Galapagos tortoises for the first time in the zoo's 150-year history. And for those of you who are going to start coming at me about zoos, I'm telling good stories, okay? Let's focus on the hatching of 4 critically endangered Galapagos tortoises, okay? Just remember that a lot of animals can no longer survive in the wild because of disabilities and because they were born and raised in captivity, and they would not know what to do if you just drove them over to the Galapagos Islands and dropped them off and said, cheerio. So that's why there's a lot of conservation now with zoos. And if any of you have ever been to the North Carolina Zoo, which is in Asheboro, North Carolina, it is amazing. The African animals, Cheryl, they have acres and like you can't see them like from like across the room. They're like way, way, way. It looks like they literally are on the Serengeti. Like they're way far away. So you can see the zebras, but you're seeing them like you would see them if you were literally standing somewhere on the Serengeti. So it's very, very cool. They have created habitats that resemble the habitats they would have where they're from, and also where they're not right under your nose.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's really cool.
That's
and
really
guess what?
cool.
I'm going to bring you there. So
All
anyway,
right.
the parents of these baby tortoises are Western Santa Cruz tortoises, and they are the zoo's oldest residents, each estimated to be around 100 years old.
Oh, I know they can live long. Are they big? Do they get really
know.
big? Are these like those huge tortoises?
I think so. I think turtles are small and tortoises are big.
Oh man, they can get so big. It's incredible.
The female's name is Mommy. Isn't that cute?
No.
She is considered one of the most genetically valuable of her species in the survival plan of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. She's also the oldest first-time mom of her species. Shout out to old moms, yo! The hatchlings are currently eating and growing normally behind the scenes in the reptile and amphibian house. The first one hatched on February 27th, and the animal care team is still monitoring more eggs that could hatch in the coming weeks. They will make their public debut on April 23rd, which is the 93rd anniversary of Mommy's arrival at the zoo.
Wow.
That's so crazy.
It is. Wow.
Yeah. The babies are part of the AZA breeding program to ensure the survival of the species, which are listed as critically endangered. So that's probably because of urban sprawl, because of overfishing the oceans, because of debris in the oceans, like those soda pop things and those like nets and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the last clutch of Western Santa Cruz tortoises to hatch in an AZA accredited zoo was in 2019 at the Riverbank Zoo in South Carolina. Other zoos with breeding pairs of this species include the San Diego Zoo, the Miami Zoo, and the Honolulu Zoo.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Speaking of turtles, I've already said that I've been immersed in binge watching Survivor. They ate one on one. I fast
What?
forwarded through it. Yeah, as soon as
Oh,
they said, "Oh, we caught a turtle," I fast forwarded,
I
forward.
got to.
I can't, I can't watch the chickens. I
Ugh,
can't watch the. There was a pig going through. I don't know if production actually put that pig right there in front of them, but there was a pig, and they're like, "Let's catch it," and I fast forwarded through that. I
good.
don't think I don't think they ate that one, but I can't. I just can't. Although if I was starving on an island, like I've said to you, I'd probably quit the show after one
Yeah,
day of being
you
hungry.
probably would.
But
I think what would happen is when those bugs started biting, because remember their legs are covered in bug bites.
yeah, ugh, I just can't
Well,
imagine.
I swam with the turtles, these giant turtles in Puerto Rico. I didn't know I was swimming with them, but I looked right and I saw this huge thing. I thought it was a shark.
Well, everybody would assume shark
Yeah,
first.
because
That's the first
it
thing
was enormous and it turned its head and looked at me,
Oh,
and then I almost drowned. So I
oh,
quickly
that's
swam back to the boat
cool.
and climbed on the boat, and then I vowed to never swim with turtles again. I
Oh, was
didn't
it?
know it was going to be in the water next to me. If they had said, "Oh," and then like 2 months later in the news, somebody got bit by a shark at that exact same island.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
scary.
right? In the exact same with the same like swim with the turtles company.
With the
Ugh.
turtles company. Were you afraid of the turtle?
Well,
I mean,
I didn't
I would have
know
thought
there
that
was
was
going to
so
be a
cool.
when they said that you're going to see stingrays and turtles. The stingrays kind of stay on the bottom of the ocean, and that was like 20 feet down. But I didn't realize the turtles were going to be like at the top of the ocean.
Okay.
I thought
So
they'd be
you
hiding in like the grass and the like kelp at the bottom.
oh, yeah, that's so cool though. So I just looked up what is a group of turtles called, and it's commonly referred to as bale, B-A-L-E. So was it a bale of turtles or one
No, it was
singular?
just one and it was huge and it looked like Crush from Finding Nemo.
Ah,
Remember Crush?
no.
Well, he was 150 years old.
Oh, how cute.
Isn't that a cool story? Anyway, Cheryl, I think that for those of you listening, Cheryl is going to come visit me. I think we need to go to South Carolina on a little road trip and go to the Riverbank Zoo and see the Santa Cruz tortoises.
Oh, that would be cool.
Doesn't that sound like
You
fun?
know, in Hawaii, I think my niece has a friend or one of the neighbors in my old neighborhood. Anyway, they have one of those huge tortoises.
In its
Huge.
house?
Out well in their yard, but yeah, they have one.
Oh my gosh, is that, I think in North Carolina it's illegal to have tortoises or turtles as pets because
It
they're
might be
protected
in Hawaii and I just called someone out and now the animal
right?
control is gonna be on their
And the
door.
turtle's name is Soup. My turtle soup.
Isn't that funny how I mean, I'm not a vegetarian. I eat chicken and beef, but there are some animals I just can't even think of eating.
I
Like
know, right?
I even don't like that I eat chicken and beef too. But yeah, there are just some things I couldn't.
Yeah.
But that's a cool
I think in my
story.
next life I'm gonna be a fruitarian.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a Chick-fil-arian that eats fruit occasionally.
Oh
All
my God.
the fried chicken, popcorn chicken, round chicken, square chicken, nugget chicken, you name it. Breaded chicken, grilled chicken, shredded chicken. Anyway,
Uh,
I'm going to go into story number 2. And this I also picked out for you, Cheryl. A missing kitten has finally been reunited with her owner 16 years after vanishing from the backyard.
what?
Yeah, Sunshine disappeared from owner Carl Pullen's garden in 2009 when she was around 3 years old. Carl presumed the pedigree Bengal cat was stolen because the breed can be sold for many hundreds of dollars in England, and she was never recovered despite extensive searching. Reluctantly, he moved away from his home. in Hertfordshire the following year. I'd always figured she'd been stolen. I put up posters appealing to find her. She was microchipped, said the 51-year-old, and it's a good thing I never changed my phone number in all these years. Last week, he got the shocking call from a veterinary surgeon saying that a cat had been handed in as a stray and asking if he owned a cat named Sunshine. And now, 19 years old, the cat has been reunited with her family for the remaining years of her life.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. That's
Oh, that's sweet.
awesome. Why was she on? I wonder if she was on the streets the whole time, or she found.
She was all, hey baby, you want a date? And then there's that guy's all, welcome to Hollywood. What's your dream? She was like Sunshine, like in Pretty Woman. She's like, I'm Sunshine, this stray pussy. Okay, that's sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I meant stray cat. Anyway, I wonder.
That's incredible.
I wonder if you know they have furry porn, right?
What's that?
You don't know what a furry is?
Oh, where they dress up as animals? People
Yeah.
dress up. Oh, no. I know.
A furry is someone who identifies as part of the furry fandom. It's a subculture that is interested in anthropomorphic animals, otherwise known as animals with human characteristics, and often expresses this interest through art, storytelling, role playing, and even creating and wearing costumes, which are called fursuits. And then they have furry porn, which is the furries have on their fursuits and then they do it.
Oh God, I'm gonna check.
You're gonna Google that.
Check that out as soon as we end this
like pop-ups. You'll never get out of the pop-ups.
Oh my God.
I wonder if the furries can. I wonder if they have like all kind of different animal furry costumes.
No. When did this start?
Furries?
Yeah.
I feel like I've known about furries for at least 10 years.
No way. I have heard of it recently.
If you think about it, Halloween is basically a furry convention.
Well, but it's not all animals.
No, but that's when I think furry stuff starts.
Oh, wait, did you say it's any animals?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, like, can you be a beaver? Can you be an aardvark? Can you be like a duck-billed platypus? Can you be like exotic animals? Can you be a dinosaur?
I don't know that culture. They might have prerequisites. There might be rules and regulations. Yeah. CC&Rs. God, we have lost our minds.
All right, roar it on to story number 3. A North Carolina man. Hey, shout out close to home. A North Carolina man stumbled across a $20 bill and decided to use it to buy a scratch-off lottery ticket. You know where this is headed, and it paid off in a big way. Jerry Hicks, a master carpenter from Banner Elk, North Carolina, won $1 million after purchasing an extreme cash scratch-off on October 22nd, according to a news release from the North Carolina Education Lottery. The lucky winner revealed he noticed the $20 by chance. I found $20 in the parking lot outside of the Speedway, he shared. I used that to buy the ticket. In another fatal moment, he learned when he entered the store in Boone that the original lottery ticket he wanted wasn't available. They actually didn't have the ticket I was looking for, so I bought that one instead, he said about the extreme cash scratch-off. The unexpected turn of events led to him buying the winning $1 million ticket.
That is so cool.
Isn't that crazy?
My God, how fun.
And maybe like in a couple of months, we can do an episode on how he's now bankrupt.
Right. How he spent his how much do you get after taxes? Really, half of that.
I know, right? It's like 40%. If you are single and you earn $1 million of taxable income, you fall into the highest tax bracket, which is 37%. So 37% goes to federal income taxes on the portion of your income
But
Let's
that's
see.
not income, is it? It's not
Yeah,
income.
but if you win $1 million lottery, you're also going to pay 37%.
That's
That's why they say
crazy.
um, you should take the lump sum instead of the payout because you're going to pay a lot more over time than if you just take the lump sum.
Right. Yeah, I would take the lump sum.
Well, I think that's pretty cool. Jerry, I bet you he probably bought more scratch offs. What do you think?
Or shoes or
One
purses.
day, okay, I just want to say that scratch off tickets are they are something fun that we do at Christmas. We buy $3 scratch offs and usually a $5 scratch off, and every kid gets one of each in their stocking. It's fun because, everybody sits and scratches off. And I think the most that one person won was $20. But one year, everybody, like 3 out of 4 people won something. And I think it totaled $38. One day I was at the local gas station here where I live, and a man went in and handed in a winning lottery ticket of $250. So he had won $250, and I believe it was a $5 scratch off ticket. And if that guy did not, okay, so you have to pay for the tickets in cash, you can't use a card
Right.
or anything like
Right.
that. If he did not turn around and instead of they gave him the $250 cash, and he literally turned around and bought a stack of scratch offs.
Huh. Well, I
I
guess.
believe that is called addiction,
Mm,
right?
yeah. Well, y- yeah. Gambling. I mean, he made money he didn't have, so I guess he could, take the risk and try to get more. I don't
That's
know.
so crazy. That's so nuts. Anyway, guys, if you are addicted to buying scratch off tickets at your local gas station, you can go to a Gamblers Anonymous meeting, or you could probably reach out to a hotline and somebody will help you with that. Because it's just like Overeaters Anonymous or shopping. It's just like overeating or drugs or alcohol or shopping addiction or sex addiction. You can be addicted to gambling. So, and
And then
oh,
do they have one for buying shoes and purses?
no, story number 4 is another feel good story. These are all feel good stories, just in case the Gamblers Anonymous and the addiction didn't bring you down. When Mila Hellfire, by the way, that is the best fucking last name ever.
Right?
I almost wanted to change my last name to Hellfire when I read this
I,
article.
I want to change my first name to Hellfire.
Mila Hellfire started college at just 16 years old. She faced challenges. The trans teen growing up in Puerto Rico struggled to get support from her family, and she found herself homeless. But someone in her community at the University of Puerto Rico, Piedras, gave her a helping hand. She said, I used to shower at my college. I used to sleep in the benches at my college park. One day I had the luck of a community member. They offered me a place to stay, and I got my first apartment here. Mind you, I never stopped studying when I went to college at 16. So I was still homeless, studying, trying to continue my life because I couldn't give up. Um, just a little fact, little data. LGBTQ plus youth are twice as likely to experience homelessness as their non-LGBTQ plus peers, according to a report from Chaplain Hill at the University of Chicago. But Mila saw her peers trying to help. Someone at her school also offered her a job at a library, and soon Mila was in a position to give back too. And that's how she met her partner, Nick Alicia, who was in Minnesota receiving gender affirming treatment, but enrolled in an esthetician program in Puerto Rico. Nick didn't know many people in the area, so he started getting involved in trans advocacy. When I met Mila, he said, who had been an activist for years, it gave me the strength to fight for us and our rights. She is very brave because she did not have it easy in her life, and she's still here, keeping on the fight for herself and for all of us. The pair got involved with the Human Rights Campaign to advocate for trans youth in Puerto Rico. teaching them about how HIV and health inequities affect their community. And they fell in love with each other. And I think that's so amazing because they found each other through advocacy, and she was able to get out of homelessness, and he was able to, and they're both from Puerto Rico.
That's
So,
cool.
what a wonderful story.
Now, why do LGBTQ plus teens, why are there, why is there a higher number of homelessness for them? Is it houseless now?
Um, I think it's homeless. I think that I don't know. I think it's homelessness, but I think the reason is because if you think about it, they're predominantly Catholic. And so the families probably, especially in Puerto Rico, probably would disown these kids when they came out as trans.
That's so
And
sad.
so it's super sad if you think about as difficult as it is to find the funding to go to school and to get accepted to go to college and to do all the coursework and studying required to pass. On top of it, if you don't have a supportive place to live and 3 square meals a day, I mean, how are you going to do it? I can't imagine.
No, being a teen, I can't even imagine being that young and on your own. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But I'm so happy that things worked out for Mila and things worked out for Nick
Yeah,
and that
that's
they found each
great.
other.
That's cool.
And then my last feel good story is also for Cheryl.
Hmm.
It's crazy. Okay, Kim Spencer and her dog Kona were near a lake by their home when the unthinkable happened. In a split second, a 6 foot, 6 inch alligator lunged from the water and clamped its jaws around Kona's head. She's facing it and it's facing her, and it jumped out and got her. She was in up to her, like her neck. Her whole head was
Oh my
inside the
God.
alligator's mouth, Spencer recalled. I stopped thinking and just dove on top of it. I jumped on it. I straddled it, as ladylike as that is, and tried to pry its jaws open. Against the odds, Spencer managed to wrestle with the massive reptile and open its jaws from behind. Her quick thinking and fearless reaction freed Kona from the gator's grip. She says, I saw the eyes. I saw it turning itself around toward us. And I started pulling Kona away, saying, let's go. Let's go. But she's a really strong dog, Spencer said. Both Kim and Kona were injured and required stitches, but they're now recovering physically and emotionally. And thanks to Kim's courage, Kona is home safe. Kim said, we just got lucky because just as quickly as it ran after us, it ran right back into the water and we
Oh
were
yeah.
out of there. I bet she scared the
Oh
shit
my
out of that
God.
alligator by jumping on its back.
I guess. I thought you were gonna say it like went for its eyes or something, because I don't know how you pry open the alligator's jaw, but
Well,
good on her.
you do one of those Steve Irwin things where you go crikey and you just grab its mouth and you start yanking it open. Do you remember? Do you remember Steve
Yes,
Irwin?
of course. I
When my
mean, it's
when my kids were little, they were obsessed with the Wiggles. Obsessed.
mm,
And Steve Irwin being from Australia and the Wiggles being from Australia, I mean, they would have him on their show, I felt like every 15 minutes.
mm.
And they thought that Steve Irwin was so amazing. I couldn't watch the guy, to be honest with you, because he gave me so much anxiety. Because I just imagined that one day we were going to turn on the news and he was going to be eaten by a crocodile. And
Mm.
I don't know which is worse. I mean, do you know if crocodiles are bigger or alligators?
I don't know, but he was killed by an animal.
He was killed by a stingray.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
quick.
it's kind of fitting for his life. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
bet if you were to be were able to ask him, he'd say, "You know what? If I had to go, that wasn't a bad way to go." It's kind of poetic for what he did, in his
Wow.
lifetime.
Listen, in general, crocodiles tend to be bigger than alligators. The largest crocodile species, the saltwater crocodile, can grow up to 20 feet, while the
Jesus.
largest alligator species, the American alligator, typically maxes out around 15 feet. And for those of you listening to us in other countries, 20 feet is 6 meters and 15 feet is 4.5 meters. And also, crocodiles have that flat, wide mouth, and alligators have like more the pointy mouth.
Oh, is that the difference? I never knew what the
Yeah,
difference was.
sorry, alligators have a broader U-shaped snout, while
Okay.
crocodiles have a pointed. I basically said the opposite thing.
Okay.
And
But which
alligators are typically dark gray or black, and crocodiles tend to be a lighter grayish brown. Like I'd notice the color while it's
right?
eating my dog.
Is that I wonder do both of them do that death roll where they grab you and they start rolling? That's how they
I
kill you.
don't know.
That's how
But
they kill their prey.
the largest ever recorded crocodile was 2,000 pounds and 23 feet in length.
Oh my God. Where did it say? Does it say where?
No, but
Because wherever that
crocodiles.
is, I'm never going.
But I think crocodiles are from Australia, aren't they?
Well, Australia's, sorry, you people, but I am only going to see Australia through a screen. I am never, you guys
Oh,
have the gnarliest critters I have ever
wait,
seen. The
listen,
biggest spiders. I'll never set foot in Australia. Sorry, I can't even deal with the roaches here in the US.
listen to this. The true crocodiles, the family is called Crocodilidae. That sounds weird. Occur in most of Africa south of the Sahara, Madagascar, India, Sri Lanka, Southeast Asia, the East Indies, Northern Australia, Mexico, Central America, the West Indies, and Northern South America. So guess what? They're everywhere.
Do you have them in the Carolinas? Is that a dumb question?
We have alligators. So the American alligator is native to the southeastern United States, ranging from coastal North Carolina to southern Florida and westward on to eastern Texas and southeastern Oklahoma. But when my daughter was a Girl Scout and we went to a place where they had crocodiles, it was like a aquarium in somewhere on the coast in North Carolina. We got to see baby alligators, and they told us that within the next 10 to 15 years that all the waterways in North Carolina would have alligators in them, because at that point all of the waterways in South Carolina had alligators. And those waterways include man-made lakes, they include rivers, they include the ocean.
Man-made lakes? So you don't have to be just on the coast to see them.
Right. Did I tell you when I went to the Amazon jungle, I actually took like this Amazon river taxi, because obviously those people have to get around somehow. And we went on a boat. So we took the Amazon river taxi to a private little jetty. We got on the little jetty and we went out it was like an estuary off of the Amazon River, but it was a part of the Amazon that takes off and goes off into Peru. And then they have these pink dolphins that swim in the Amazon that we got to see. And they said, don't
literally pink?
Pink, the color pink. And they said, don't, and the water, is like muddy brown. It's just like this gigantic river that's brown. And they said, don't put your hands in the water because of the piranhas and stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because you know how when it's hot, you want to just dip your hand in the water. And then the other thing is we pulled over and they brought out a two-toed sloth and we held the sloth. They brought out alligators and
I love
crocodiles and we held the crocodiles. They brought out this ginormous like boa constrictor, anaconda, whatever. I don't know. It was the largest snake I'd ever seen. And the guy I was traveling with had been flirting with this Mexican girl the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
And they had us stand and hold the big snake, and she was holding the end of the snake where the poop came out, and the anaconda shit all over her multiple times, and it was like a white milky poo liquid, and it was everywhere from her hair all down her clothes. And so he kind of stopped flirting with her after that because she smelled funky for the rest of the day. That happened in the morning. Then she had to spend the whole day with these stinky like snake poop clothes on. And I mean, it was unfortunate for her. Let me just put it that way.
Oh man. Is Australia one of our countries that listens? Is there anyone out there listening from
Australia?
Australia? Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Did we have?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, dude.
right.
Australia,
Contact.
Cheryl, Australia is our second largest listener. We're being listened to in Victoria, after the United States, Victoria, Queensland, South Australia, New South Wales, and Australian Capital Territories.
Okay, well, mates,
Mhm.
can
Hi,
you write
mate.
in and share a story of like your critters out there, man?
Ah,
Tell us
ooh.
the story, a first person story that you've experienced, because the stuff I see on the internet is scary. When I was young, I used to think, oh, I'd love to go to Australia one day, because it sounds beautiful. And I'm sure it is beautiful. But then since then, I've seen things.
You seen some shit, huh?
Yeah, that I'm like, nope.
Those those spiders are
Those
crazy.
the one that was on somebody's wall in the apartment that was bigger than two
Yeah.
heads put together. I mean, I'm just like, no way.
I feel like it's a joke sometimes.
Yeah, I think some of them are pranks, but I think they have some strange things out there. They
Well,
need
imagine the size of the exterminator. Like literally. They probably send in like they probably have like real big beefy exterminators over there. Like Jason Momoa size exterminators.
and that'd be a good business to go into. You'd make a lot of money there, I'm
Oh my
sure.
God. But you'd have to be okay with like all those snakes and all those like critters, spiders. Oh my God, they're the size of like wildebeests. So that wraps up the feel good stories that I'm bringing to you today so that we can all focus on
Oh,
something positive. I just want our listeners to know there is a famous saying. I didn't make it up myself, even though I'd like to take credit for it. And it's whatever that, like, whatever goes up has to come down. So just keep in mind that if you're having a hard time right now, and you made the mistake in the last week or so of looking at your 401k balance, don't worry because whatever goes up also has to come down. So, like, don't look at it right now. Wait a couple of months, maybe 3.5 years, and then look at it.
a
And
month to 3.5 years.
you might feel better about it. And also, if anyone out there listening has a feel good story that you want to share with us, you can post it on our TikTok, you can post it on our Instagram, you can post it on our Facebook, you can email us, you can get one of those strings with the two cans and shout it at us. You could put it in a bottle and throw it in the ocean for us. We would love to hear your feel good stories
We
because
would.
there's not enough feel good stories out there. Okay. We need more.
That's true. That's very true. My favorite is the one about the kitten. That's
Right.
incredible.
Maybe
Yeah.
that will happen with Cricket. Maybe someday Cricket will come back.
Who's Cricket?
Cricket's our cat that got eaten by a coyote.
Oh. Yeah, and you don't know if she did, so she
No,
might come
because
back.
we never found any remains.
Well, because she's gallivanting around the country and she'll come
She
back to you
is.
someday.
She is.
Along with Sunshine. Maybe she
I
met Sunshine on one of her
I have
adventures.
a funny, I have a funny, I have a sneaking suspicion that she has like a little carpet bag and umbrella like Mary Poppins and she's just floating
Aw.
around. So,
Aw.
and if you didn't like these stories, that's a real crime. But you know what else is a crime?
What's that, Joy?
I am out of time.
Oh, that is a crime. Well, thank you for listening, everyone, and don't complicate your day. All creativity, commentary, and opinions in this podcast belong to Cheryl and Joy. Music composed and mixed by Gabe McKeon. Logo and merch managed by Cheryl Yamaguchi. Podcast editing, advertising, and social media managed by Joy McKeon. Legal representation provided by John Bojezic. Please like, subscribe, follow, and listen. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible.com, Amazon Music, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. And remember, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok, or you can email us at murderandeverythingelse@gmail.com.
Bye, fishes.